All right, here we go, practicing some of those equations. The first one looks kind of complicated, but you know what? I know you can do it. You just have to take your time. My first step that I would suggest you always do when solving an equation is drop a line. And so by that, I mean we're just drawing a line where that equal sign is, because that reminds us that really there's two sides to it, and hopefully it'll help you be more organized and make less mistakes. All right, so that's the first step. Second step, we need to simplify each side separately. And to do that, first we need to get rid of parentheses. And you notice in the left-hand side there is parentheses. And whenever there's parentheses, I want you to look at what's right outside of it. In this case, there is a negative sign or a minus sign right outside of it. And so if you remember the tiles, if you ever built the algebra tiles on a mat, we would have built the positive 2x and the positive 2 in the minus side. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to flip it up. And so when we flipped them up before, the 5x stays where it's at. That wasn't anywhere. But then the 2x and the 2, when they come up top, they're both going to be negative. So I'm going to just make it a negative 2x and also a negative 2, because both of them were in the parentheses. Okay, and on the right side, I can simplify some things here. On the right side, I have an x and a minus 2x, and 1x minus 2x, that's going to be negative 1x minus 4. All right, on the left, if I go back, I do need to do some more simplifying here because those two guys are like terms. So that just leaves me with 3x minus 2 equals negative 1x minus 4. Now, I did not do any solving yet. All that I did was simplified the left and I simplified the right. So there's no more like terms that I can combine together on the same side. So now I want to start solving. So I have a choice. I'm going to choose to zero out my x's on the right. So I'm going to add a positive 1x because then those will become 0. But then I must add a positive 1x on the other side. And I'm going to line up like terms there. So that leaves me with 4x minus 2 equals negative 4. Don't forget that negative sign there. So since I zeroed out the x's on the right, I need to zero out the constant term on the left. Since it's a minus 2, I'm going to add 2 because those will zero out. So I need to add 2 on the right. So that leaves me with 4x's on the left, and on the right, a negative 4 plus 2 is a negative 2. And then the last step here is however many x's there are, I'm going to divide by that number. So I need to divide both sides by 4. Now be careful here. 4 divided by 4 is 1, but negative 2 divided by 4, think of that as like a fraction there. 4 does not go into 2 a whole number of times, so I can just leave that as negative 1/2 if I simplify my fraction, or if you actually divide it, top divided by bottom, you would get negative 0.5, and those answers both would be okay. All right, next. This one doesn't quite look as complicated. There's no equal sign, or sorry, there's no parentheses, and there's not even like terms on each side. So the first thing I'm going to do again is I'm going to drop my line. There we go. And both sides are already simplified, so that's cool. So now I need to get my variable terms on one side and the non-variable terms on the other. I am going to choose again to eliminate the x's on the right. So I'm going to add a positive x so that those become 0. And I'm going to add a positive x on the left. And when I do that, I get 3x plus 14 equals 8. So now, since I did that, I need to eliminate my constant term on the left. So I need a negative 14 so that they cancel. So I need a negative 14 on the right as well. And that leaves me with 3 x's on the left. And 8 minus 14 is negative 6. Now I need to divide both sides by however many x's I have, and I happen to have 3 x's, so I'm dividing both sides by 3. Now 3 does go into negative 6, so in this case x is equal to negative 2. Now we should be checking our answers, especially this one. So to check it, what I'm going to do is say, okay, well my original equation was 2x, so 2 times negative 2 plus 14, if I'm right, there's my little question mark there, then 8 minus negative 2 would be the same thing. So 2 times 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 14 is 10. And on the right, 8 minus negative 2 is 8 plus positive 2. That's 10. So look at that. I am right. All right, awesome. I'm going to stop here. You can pause it. You can rewind it. Make sure you understand how to do it. Don't just try to keep guessing numbers and plug them in, because if you don't have the work and you just have the answer, you're not going to get any credit.